everybody. This is Teosha Charles here, and you are in Animation Station. And I am here with my co-host Joseph.
Hey, Tiasha, how are you?
I'm good, and I can't wait for this episode.
Yes, in this episode, normally, when we first started this podcast, we were just two people who really enjoyed cartoons and anime. And even though the past couple of episodes have been just us talking about different subjects, really we're just kind of getting back to what it is that we loved and just talking about the things that we were always watching. So since the beginning of the show starting, we've kind of been watching a lot of episodes and a lot of different shows. So this is what we're talking about. We're really just talking about today what we've been watching and what we've been occupying our time with.
That's right. And actually, my episode that I picked is actually anime.
Which is a first.
Yes. But it's actually anime that I used to watch, back in the day, but they just renewed it. Like they
Hmm.
redid the whole thing. Still same characters, but different animators and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, well, can't wait to talk about it. So well, first before we get into the discussion, how about we just name the shows that we've been watching and what we're
Okay.
going to talk about today?
All right. Well, mine is Fruit Basket. Not the Fruit Basket from 2001, but the 2019 Fruit Basket, which is super cool and it has to do with zodiacs. If you guys are into zodiac signs.
Hmm, that's interesting.
What about you?
So recently, I've been occupying my time with the latest hit show called The Rising of the Shield Hero. It was released in 2018, and it just actually had its season finale this past week, with a rating of it being PG-13, so it's not exactly kid-friendly. It's got a little bit for mature teens and adults. But overall, it's a really great show with this fantasy hero concept. So, but we'll be able to get into more about it a little bit later. But first, let's talk about our sponsor, Elite 23, and some of the things that we've been doing for the project.
That's right, Elite 23 Global Entertainment, or Elite 23 Global, is basically a wonderful company that has to do with gaming, podcasts, and also soon videos from YouTube as well. We haven't started on that yet, but best believe it's going to be amazing. We also have Elite 23 shopping, which is also our wonderful online store, which you guys can definitely see in the description below.
As well as our sticker giveaway that we had for our lovely subscribers and followers as well. So you'll be able to find a lot more of that content coming to the website.
That's right. all right. Are we gonna start?
Yeah, now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, how about we just jump right into it and we'll start with you first.
Yay, fruit basket. Okay, fruit baskets first started in 2001. I have to say that at first I was wondering what was the big, excitement about. But it has to do about this girl. um, by the way, guys, please do not trash me in the comments about the names. I am not good with names. But Fruit Basket is about this girl named Tuhuro Honda, who's this girl who comes upon this um, well, people think it's a shrine. It's not really a shrine, but this house. And the people that live in the house is a guy named Soma and Koi Soma and also Shuguru Soma, who are actually part of this secret family who can actually turn into animals that has to do with this zodiac signs or Chinese, either I think it's Asian zodiac signs or just basic zodiac signs. But the thing is, they only transform when they're touched by humans. So they have to be very careful on who they touch because if they do, their secret could be out and then it'll be a whole, you know, mess. But this is the thing about the 2019 that, by the way, it's amazing. The 2019 and 2001 has a whole different switch on things. Um, oh, by the way, the Japanese director for Fruit Basket is Yoshi Hyde, and the English version for dub is Kathleen Glass.
Hmm.
number one thing about this show is that in the 2019 they basically show each and every part kind of like what it is in the manga. In the manga, they show her background, her family, what was the big deal about her family, and why she moved into the house with them. And it's basically just going through each and every Zodiac character in the show, which is cool because they
Hmm.
didn't do that in 2001. Now, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's big difference in the beginning of Fruit Basket and also at the end. If you ever watched the 2019, and if you already watched the 2001, which by the way I recommend it, you
Hmm.
should definitely. I like the ending of 2019. I didn't like the ending for 2001. I feel like they should have did a little bit better in 2001. But either way, it's super cool. And the zodiac signs are so fun. Yuki is the mouse. Zodiac sign of the mouse. Koyo is the cat with the orange hair. Um, Suguru is the year of the dog. And then, of course, there's one female who is super kind of bipolar, but I guess who's sometimes angry and beats up Kairu or Koru or Kaio. Once again, name, sorry, who beats him, whom she really likes him, but she beats him up a lot. And her name is Kagura, who is also the boar pig, other words, the year of the pig.
Hmm.
Which is myself. I am the year of the pig.
Yeah.
The bottom line, the show is amazing, and I think you guys will really like it. I think you guys will like 2001 and 2019, and it's even fun because you can compare it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, looking at them, compare some of the comparisons. I mean, obviously, one is the artwork, how you can easily tell from something that was from the early 90s in that era versus what is new today. You see a lot of, mostly in the eyes and the face and the way the body proportions are drawn. But I do like how they just kept it similar and they just gave it more of an updated look where they didn't make overall crazy changes.
That's true. They
To
didn't
the
go overboard, which I'm glad.
No, with the character design, no, they kept it relatively the same, just sort of in a more modernized way with the way they drawn the eyes and some of the body proportions.
The main part that made me laugh was that um they kept the main thing when it comes to the characters, like when they get touched by a human, um that they change. It's weird because sometimes when they touch a human, they don't change. Like sometimes they change, sometimes they don't. But if a human touches them, then they change, and it's kind of weird.
Hmm.
And by the way, yes, they don't have any clothes on when they change. So when they turn back into a human, it gets a little bit awkward.
Yeah, and it's yeah. Considering I haven't yet watched anything lately, what would you say is the overall some of the conflict and some of the things that happen with some of the episodes without giving away too many things?
uh, okay, the biggest thing is, of course, um, about Toru's family.
Hmm.
From what I can remember from the first episode, it was like a little conflict when it comes to family, and they started like treating her bad in a way. And so far, the only person that actually was on her side is her grandpa. And so it was I would say that they did a little bit better this time because they went a little bit into it than they did in 2001. It just they made it more sadder.
Mm.
Like they made you feel for the character this time. So it was like, huh, tear, tear.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but the friends, they're her best friends. I forgot their names. I feel so sad. But one of them is a tall, blonde female, and then the other one is kind of like a quiet, but kind of creepy girl.
Hmm.
And like when she talks, like in 2001, when she talked, it was like a radio, like a scary radio, um, TV static when she talked. So it kind of creeped everybody out and like kind of like pushed the bullies away from Toru. So it was actually kind
Mm.
of cool. Those are her two best friends. So they're actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
They made her even more creepy, by the way. Way more creepy because now her hair like moves and stuff. Like, and you see like the darkness in the background when she does it, and it's even more creepy. I love it. But so far you can actually you can see the differences from 2019 to 2001, and it's I mean don't get me wrong, I believe in 2001 they kind of, like I said, I didn't like the ending. Some of you guys do, but I didn't, and I feel like they kind of stretched out some of the like dramatic parts when it comes to Ko, which is um, which is the zodiac sign of the cat. I think
Hmm.
they stretched out his characteristics a little bit too much to where it kind of gives like a confusing ending. Now, in 2019, every single person has their own thing. I mean, they did the same thing in 2001. They had their own little story of which one is this. This one's the bunny. This one's the cat. This one's the mouse, and stuff like that. And that's great. But it was a certain amount of time for each one, in which I like. It's not just all about this person. Each one had
Hmm.
their basically had their own screen time, and
Hmm.
for us to look at each character, which one's shy, which one has um family problems, this one needs a little bit of help on this one, and like they all come together at the close to the very end, and I like that. And that's kind of the difference between 2019 from 2001, because 2001 didn't do that so much, at least to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it seems like they revamped. Even though keeping it to the original story, they kind of revamped it, rewrote it a little bit to make it a little bit more modernized and to interest more audiences.
That's true.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, but don't get me wrong, the violence is the same.
Hmm.
There's some violence in this show. I mean, well, it's like it's like family violence. It's not
Mm.
like blood everywhere. No, it's literally family violence to me. Like the brother beats the other brother up and they fight, and
Mm.
yeah.
So no superpowers then.
Mm, it's more like martial arts. It's no powers, no. I mean, except them turning into the zodiac sign and
Right.
stuff like that. But no, no powers.
Okay.
Yeah. But either way, it's a good show. It's a nice little anime show. Of course, it's romantic comedy because I love my romantic comedies.
Yeah.
So if you like romance and funny stuff, this is the show for you.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be a lot of close calls and awkwardness. It seems the show would be mostly geared towards suspense, with there being worries about them getting caught or them being touched by someone else,
Hmm.
or when they change back, that them being spotted naked, which would seem like a lot of like embarrassing scenes. Like, I mean, one of the typical stereotypes in anime is a boy walking in on a girl and she's in her underwear. So with this kind of takes it to another level where they're already naked and not in their underwear.
Right. Oh, there's one episode where one of the zodiac signs, who is a bunny, which by the way, he's really adorable and cute. He's like a cute little blonde little boy,
Hmm.
and he turns into a bunny. He's the zodiac sign of a bunny, and he turned into it, and I guess everybody was wondering like where'd the little boy go, and everybody was like around. Everybody was around Turo and the bunny, and looking at him like, "Where's the little boy? Where's the little boy?" So Yuki had to dress up as like a maid because they were all having like little cute little tea festival classroom things where they have to do like it's like one of those schools where you have to have those festivals, and each class has to do their own little festival amusement, like not an amusement park, but like a little party or whatever. And they were doing a tea party maid thing. And I guess Yuki wanted to make sure that nobody paid attention to the bunny or Turo.
Hmm.
So he dressed up as a maid, and like he kind of like everybody like he did like the cute little, does this look good on me? Like and everybody was like, yeah, it does. Like he's like of course the popular guy, and he's like, you guys owe me big time. So it was like
Hmm.
kind of funny, but yeah. That's like the best part because it's like he's like so. Like he's usually the calm character,
Yeah.
and then when you see him pissed off, he's like, "You guys owe me big time." So it was good. I loved
Hmm.
it. But I want to hear about this Shield hero. What is this about, Joe?
Yeah. Oh, so this is a really new hot sensation, new anime show that started just this past Christmas, actually, and it just wrapped. The day that we're recording was the season finale, June 25th. So I actually 26th, excuse me. So I actually just finished watching the last episode, the season finale, right before we started recording. So it's fresh in my head right now, and I'm eager to talk about it. But I have really loved the show because despite it with it kind of following some of the similar cliches and stereotypes that you find in most anime, it kind of throws some twists at you and it kind of has some new things about it. And I'm hoping that once the next season starts, it'll answer some of the questions that I have about it, because there's a lot of mysteries. There's a lot of questions that are in this show that you get that you don't really get answered in the first season, and I'm hoping that it does well enough that the second season does answer some of those questions, or I can just read the light novels like everyone else. So, quick overview about this plot, about the show. It kind of follows the stereotypes, like I said, some of them, and one of the ones being is that you have this character, a male character named Nafumi, which is a pretty cool name. I think it sounds really neat. But he's a 20-year-old, and he's not some geek or nerd. He's just an average, normal person. Just he's just kind of lazy. He's not like a shut-in or a neat or anything like that. He's just a guy who just kind of has lacks motivation as a 20-year-old. So one day he goes to a library, and lo and behold, he's fiddling around with some books and he gets summoned. This is where the kind of cliche falls in, where it's another summoning character of a person from our world getting sent to another world. And but however, this is what makes it a little bit different, is that when he's summoned to this world, he's summoned with three other boys, three other males. So there's four of them all together, and each one is considered a hero at this summoning. It's like, oh, you guys are summoned here. You're heroes. You're here to defend us and help protect our world.
Right.
And but this is where things kind of take a twist, where normally in most cases these characters are really OP from the start, or they kind of are able to use all these different weapons or magic. The thing about them is that these four heroes are all given a weapon, and the main character Nafumi, gets the shield for whatever reason. So it's kind of just like a luck of the draw kind of thing. So there's the one character that gets a sword, a bow, a spear, and a shield. That's the four heroes. Each hero is the hero of this weapon: hero of the sword, hero of the bow, the spear, and then Nafumi being the shield. But it's kind of lame because it's just luck of the draw of who gets what. there's
Right. But
there's
say he
no
just has a shield? Like, that's not
yeah,
fair.
yeah, he just has a shield, but because he has the shield, this is kind of where the video game aspect kind of kicks in. Is that because he has the shield, he has stats. So because he's the shield, he's
Mm.
more like a tank. So he has like a incredibly amount of health, a incredibly amount of strength, resistance, and the other characters with the bow, he gets like crazy eyesight. The sword is swift, or the spear fighter is swift. Like they get like all these crazy attributes that come with the weapon, and that kind of gives the video game aspect. And another part of the video game aspect of it is that as they continue to level up and they continue to train and get stronger, their shield gets stronger. So the shield starts taking on certain attributes, and this is what makes it kind of cool. I think this would be a really neat video game if it was based upon the show. Is that based on what the hero kills, he can take like the remains, like if it's a dragon, like a scale or a tooth or a claw, or just like if it's a wolf, they can take like their pelt, or maybe just like their insides or something,
Damn.
and it's absorbed from it's absorbed by their shield or their sword or their weapon, and it kind of takes on those attributes. So they kind of have like this skill tree, this web skill tree of different alternate shields that he can use that has all these different abilities. So that's kind of how it's designed, where he can use it in certain situations. And later on in the show, he starts killing like these demons and really strong enemies, and he starts taking parts of their bodies and throwing it into a shield, and then he's getting a shield that's like that monster in a way. So he's taken on their attributes. There's even a point where he has shards of a dragon, and then he has like this dragon shield that's just like really strong, and it's able to attack as well as defend.
Wow.
But so that's kind of like the overall aspect of it. But the one thing that's really cool about the show, and get a little bit more about it, is that in the very beginning, these heroes, like everyone's like praising them, like, "Oh, you guys are heroes. You guys are here to. We summoned you to defend us." So what's happening, and this is kind of cliche about it, is that the world is always being attacked by these portals called waves, and through these waves come like these monsters and undead creatures, and they attack the world. And the point of the hero's job is that their sole purpose is to fight off these waves and destroy them, so that way the world can be at peace. Very stereotypical cookie cutter plot, or goals, I should say. But because they don't happen like all the time. There's always like this little like magical hourglass that counts down, and then when it happens, they get magically teleported to where the waves open up. So they only happen like certain times and in certain places, and so they have to fight them off, and then they stop, and then they get like a reprieve until the next one, which is kind of
Oh,
weird.
that is weird.
Yeah, I mean, which is weird, a weird thing. So I'm hoping like maybe in the second season they kind of explain like the story behind it, like why they're happening and what's going on and how can they stop it. But that's like the overall, like that's like the big goal.
Now, do they
Um,
stay there, or do they like they fight and then they get teleported back home? They actually
well,
just stay there.
they only get, yeah, they actually just stay there. They only get teleported there to where the breach or the wave hole portals are actually happening. So no matter wherever they are in the world, they get teleported to where the waves are happening, because it only seems like they're only happening in one place on their world. And then once it's gone and dissipates, they're done. Like nothing happens. Like the sky's clear and everybody's like, okay, I guess we need to walk back or whatever to wherever it is that they were, which is kind of crazy. But it's okay because they always end up someplace close. Like the world doesn't seem very big as of right now. But I'm hoping in the second season maybe they go to these different lands and different worlds, because they talk about them in passing. Like they show maps of where different countries are. So I'm hoping maybe they'll go to these new places. But that's kind of just like the big story. The one part that really draws me in about the character Nafumi is how he's sort of considered an anti-hero, or people consider him an anti-hero because of what happens to him in the pilot. Now, I'm not really spoiling anything because it's in the show description whenever you watch it on Funimation or Crunchyroll or even on YouTube. Like this is stuff that's kind of in the summary
Right.
on the web page. So I'm not really spoiling nothing here. So what happens to Nafumi is that because he's a shield hero, he's met with prejudice just because
Mm.
he's the shield. Because for whatever reason, people in the country that he's summoned in with the other four heroes, there for some reason they're prejudiced towards the shield hero. So they start treating him like crap. Like
I mean,
he's
well, think about it. I mean, he has more stats, more health than
yeah,
all
yeah.
the others. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. But
they're
that's some
hating.
yeah, but that's part of the mystery that kind of happens, that you kind of discover about why they are the way they are towards him. So that's something that you discover later on. But within the pilot, he's accused of doing something because when they get summoned uh, that night, the four heroes kind of stay like in this room together and they start talking. And then
Hmm.
it turns out what's really interesting is that they're from Earth, our Earth, and they're all from Japan. But the thing is that they're all summoned from four different Japans, like parallel universe, like multiverse Japans kind of thing. Like it's become very comic booky. So
Right.
because they start talking, they realize they're all from Japan and the same year, but different things have happened, like the results of the World War II and who's the leader, and just their history is different. But
Right.
that's kind of like glazed over, so that doesn't really matter. But when they actually start on their mission to like go out and they start learning about the world that they're in,
Hmm.
they offer parties. So this is very video gamey too, where the hero has a party and different characters with different stats and different classes and different abilities. So that kind of has that video game aspect to it. But it turns out because everyone's prejudiced towards the shield hero, no one wants to be part of the party with the shield hero until
Wow.
he's all like, and he's all stunned. He's like, why does no one want to hang out? Why does no one want to be with me? I'm a shield. I have a shield. I have no offensive ability. I need someone to be offensive.
So
So
what? Do they think that he's not like he doesn't deserve to be a hero because he has a shield?
pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the concept
What?
behind it. I mean, there's more to the story, but just like nobody likes the shield. Like, just no one, everyone just hates like the shield because everyone's just like, oh, the shield's
Yeah.
lame and all that. But later, he gets someone to join his party, and then it turns out that this woman is actually working against him.
Oh,
Like she's a Two Face, and
enemy
later
betrayals.
yeah. She pretty much betrays him, sets him up for a crime that so she frames him. I'm not going to say what she frames him for. I'll let the listeners discover that for themselves. But pretty much she betrays him in a way. I'm kind of giving it away, but it's in there anyway in the description.
Oh, I know. Cause okay, I know.
Yes, so pretty yeah. So
I
she
saw
pretty
that in
much
the clip.
yeah. She pretty much accuses him of a crime that he didn't commit, so therefore he's framed. So that turns even more people against him. So pretty much he goes off on his own, and then this is where they get the secondary character Raftalia, where he goes to a slave market
Mm.
and he actually buys a slave to to teach her how to use a sword because he needs someone to fight for him while he does defense. So he's all defense, at least in the beginning, he's all defense. And then he needs someone to be offensive, and that's where he goes and goes to the slave market. So he finds this little girl, and what's really neat about in this world too, as well, is that they have what they call demi-humans, which are the half human, half animal. So like the cat people, the bunny people, the character Raftalia, who's the another secondary character, she's half human, half raccoon. So she's got little raccoon nails with like a little bushy tail.
Aw.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. So and then later his party grows and he starts getting more and more people involved. But at first it's like really he starts playing the bad guy, like he plays the bad guy role. And everything that he does, he kind of it's very Jack Sparrowy, where he becomes more of a gray character because he does that role. It's like you're brand me as the bad guy. Okay, fine, I'll be the bad guy. I don't care. Like he just doesn't care.
Oh
He's
no.
like, fine, I'll make do with what I got. But later on, you start to see him kind of rebuild his reputation a little bit, little by little, because he starts doing things for people, not for free, obviously. He expects something in return. But later on, people start realizing that he's not who people say he is. He's not such a bad guy.
Right.
And little by little, he starts earning, even though like the higher ups, like the kings and the nobility are like against him, like the common people are the ones who are actually starting to who favor him, and they know the truth. They're like, hey, this guy's not a bad guy. But the nobility and the rich are the ones who actually despise him at first, and then
Oh,
things
they
start
always despise someone.
yeah. But things start changing, and what I really like is just how the character development that he has, but not only just him, but the people within his party, and then also his the secondary character Raftalia as well. He also gets another character, I'm sorry, another party member whose name's Philo, and it's kind of funny because she's a bird. She's like this huge overgrown bird. She's a big chicken, is what she is. But they kind of make her cute because she can transform from the big chicken, which is her real form, but also she can transform to a little girl. So that
Aw.
so that kind of like doubles over with it, where she can both be human and the giant bird. But I don't know. It's a really great show, and the season finale left. It's very open ended, and it's very easy to see like what season two is going to be about. But there's a lot of great characters and a lot of great combat. The animations are really amazing with how they do the battles, fighting the monsters, as well as them fighting each other. Because sometimes there's a few instances where the heroes throw down, because they're always fighting and disputing against each other. Like they really lack a lot of unity, and mostly it's because they're real young. Besides Nafumi being 20 years old, there's another character who's 21, and then there's two others who are 16. So they're really young and they kind of let things go to their head where they can't really work together. So I think if they were a little bit older, like in their mid 20s, if all of them were, then they would be more mature and be able to see more of the bigger picture
Well,
about
let's
what they
hope
should do.
that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they're young and they create drama with between each other, but it's pretty neat to see how this world operates that they're in, as well as the nobility and the hierarchy and how they grow with their skills because like they can only use the weapon that they have. They're like magically bounded to it and they can't really use anything else. But because they're able to absorb the skills of animals or monsters and whatever it is that they kill, they're able to take on those traits with their shield or their weapons. So even though they're stuck with that one weapon, they get multiple variants of that same weapon, and that kind of allows them to use it for whatever situation they need,
Mm.
which is kind of cool. But with him, and later on in the show, he learns to discover other abilities that he has, not just as far as like fighting, but other things like crafting or skill boosting, like things that he's able to do later on as he gets a little bit stronger. And some of the things he's able to do is pretty crazy, and it's only mainly because he takes on more. At first, he's more like just a tank, but later
Hmm.
on, he takes on the skills of that's more of a paladin kind of thing because of his high defense abilities. So
Now
it's
that's
actually
the only weapon he can use, right? It's the shield. He can't use any other weapon.
no, because it's like stuck to his arm. Like even when he sleeps or he's bathing,
Oh, it's
it's like
stuck.
stuck. It's like stuck to him.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like latched to his arm. Like he can't remove it.
Like, can he summon it, or it's just out?
It's just out. Like when he showers, when he
Oh,
sleeps, it's just like out.
oh, that sucks.
Yeah. But the shield that he has, like the default one, you see it like on the cover art. The one that he has, it's really small. So it's like almost not that big of a deal. It's not like some huge kite shield
Oh,
that's
okay.
really heavy. It's just some little like small square shield that's probably like maybe like a foot big. It's like really small.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
of
but I know that clip that you're talking about.
Yeah,
That part.
but
That
of
was
course
funny.
it's a really funny show and just how the characters and side characters and they kind of talk about them a little more and some of the developments that happens within the story with the other characters is really neat and there's a lot of mystery within this world about why things are the way they are and how it happens and there's a little bit of depth history and lore too with it because with one of the things about the hero is that he's summoned but there's been other heroes before them.
It makes you
So
wonder too, like, are they able to ever like go back home? Does
yeah.
their age like apply to both worlds? Like, they could
Mhm.
literally be 30 in the fantasy world, but they're
Mhm.
still like 20 or 16 in
Mhm.
the real world.
Yeah, but the great thing is that they come across some of this history that they come across is that they come across the history of past heroes. So they start to learn things about what people did previously before their arrival from other worlds, and then another thing is that they start to consider the concept of well, what if we can go to these other worlds that this other person was summoned from because they realize that there's more worlds out there. So they're trying to discover how this magic works as well as being able to work with each other. But at the end, it's really great because his party grows and he starts to earn the respect of more people, and people starting to realize who he is. And he's more than just what his reputation is. But he kind of uses that reputation to his benefit at first. But it's still kind of neat to be how he starts off as like this gray anti-hero, and then that slowly shifts. At least in the anime.
Wow. And I also figured out after finally figuring out what type of anime it was. It made like I think it was 14 that like 14 oh six sorry 16 volumes of a book of the book.
Mm-hmm.
16? Wow. And
Yeah.
it's weird because it was in 2014 when they started making these books. So it's funny how like they find like did they ever make an anime back in the day and then they just redid it, or this just they just first started making this now?
No, they just started making this now. Looking at the way things are designed, they implement a lot of 3D into some of the bigger monsters, as
Oh,
well as some of the characters and some of the fight scenes as well, because it's very highly detailed. It's got like the particle effects
right.
and a really great, excuse me, monster design. So a lot of it is in 3D. So I can see how that took them a while to make. But no, this is brand new. It's fresh. It was this past December when it first started airing, and the dubbing is really well done too. It hasn't been all the way yet. I think it's episode 23 as far
Hmm.
as the actual dub. No, yes, 23 that's been dubbed. So they just still have two more episodes, which I'm sure the dubbing they keep up with it. It looks like it's about maybe a week to 2 weeks after the subtitle one airs.
Hmm.
But that seems
Okay.
to be the trend a lot lately now. With before they would just show the whole thing dubbed. I mean, sub with subtitles, and then maybe like 6 months to a year later, they would finally come
Hmm.
out with the dub version. But
Exactly.
now, but now, especially this past year or 2 years, studios have been working really hard to get dub versions and try to have them maybe like a week or 2 weeks behind the original air date. It seems
Wow.
that's been the case with a lot of anime studios lately. Because one thing that I've been watching a lot too, just to briefly mention it, is Sword Art Online. And I remember when they would air it, and then it would be like 2 years before another dub version would come out. I mean, it's been years since since the second season. I mean, we finally got a third season, but even then, it took forever for a dub second season to come out after the initial subtitle one released. But now I thought it was going to be the same thing with this new one, season three, but they've done a really good job of airing a dub version almost a week later following the original.
Well, so far, from what I'm looking at, it looks like it's going to be a good anime.
No, it's really good. The story is really complex. The characters are well written. The development from the first episode towards the end that the character goes through, especially Nafumi, sort of his arc. It's something that really keeps you drawn in and interested, as well as the bigger picture with the world conflict that's happening, because you get these little conflicts that they deal with on a day to day with his personality and just how he feels about this world. Because I can only imagine like being summoned to a new world, like against your, like it was against your will. Like he was just minding his own business one day with a care in the world, like going through a library, reading a book, and all of a sudden he's this huge responsibility is forced upon him, especially with him being so lazy. Like he's a lazy person, and now he's forced to defend a world against an endless onslaught of monsters. So,
Right.
and being ridiculed for nothing, for just being for having the luck of a draw of being a shield hero. This world that he's summoning is prejudice against him. So you can understand how a person like that would feel,
Right. Like it's
and
not my
that
fault.
yeah, and
I
that's the
got
kind of
here late.
and that's the kind of turmoil that he deals with on a day to day.
Well, that's another thing. Is it literally just whoever comes here first picks whatever whatever you want,
Yeah,
or
it
is
was
it like
random.
you put over your hand over and it's like it summons you or something like that?
Hmm.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's very similar to like some anime, or even something that we've talked about before is Airbender. You know, whether it be Korra or Aang, the last Airbender, you see how some people are just born with whatever bending ability they have. They don't have a choice; it's just what they have. So they
That's
try to make
true.
the best of it. And with this, they just get summoned randomly, and then he's like, "Here, this is your magical weapon that never comes off, and this is what you have to use." He's like, "Why could I be the sword?" He's like, "I don't know. It's just what you got." So
Oh wow. But so far, So far, our animes are actually, you got the action and adventure anime, and then you have the romantic comedy, funny fighting lovey-dovey
Well,
anime.
I mean, you have a little bit of romanticism about it because the one thing that's really interesting about the character Raftalia, his sort of slave, as you can say, his companion. At first, when he finds her, she's like a little girl,
Hmm.
something that's like around the ages of 10 or 12. But for whatever reason, because she's a demi-human, her power she grows with her level and her skills and abilities. So even though she's like a level 1 or 2, when he finds her, eventually she gets higher and higher to like level 20, level 30, level 40. And as she gets stronger, she goes through like this growth spurt to like an 18-year-old over like the
What?
course of a few months. I don't know. It's really weird. Like they kind of explain it a little bit because of who her race and her species is, that they kind of grow. So even though they grow like with their skill levels or with their power level, so she
Huh.
goes from like being like a 10-year-old to like an 18-year-old, and obviously she starts showing affections towards Nafumi. So you kind of get that romanticism there.
Tell me more.
As well with the little girl, the Philo, who's the chicken who can
Uh-huh.
transform into a little girl. She stays mostly like 9 or 10. That's her character age, and so you start to see this little jealousy, competition, fighting over him kind of thing happening. So that's again that falls
Are
within the
you
stereotype.
kidding me?
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of it's. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cute when it happens.
Oh
But
my
that's
god.
something that you kind of get that romanticism of her starting to fall for Nafamu because she starts to see who he is and how much he actually really cares about people, even though he tries to play the villain.
I have to watch it because it's
It's pretty good. It's really good and it's well dubbed. I like it a lot.
okay. I'll definitely watch
Yeah,
it, and
it's a
you guys definitely watch it too, because so far it sounds good.
it's a pretty big hit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Joe, I think it's time to end this.
Yeah. I think that is all we have time for. We just wanted to come to you guys and give you guys an update of what we've been watching because this show was a goal for us to talk about cartoons and anime, two things that we really love. Even though today was mostly about anime, eventually again we'll talk about some other cartoons. Even though we have our topics and things that we talk about on a day-to-day basis and in subjects weekly, occasionally we're going to come back and just talk about things that we've been watching, which is what we loved doing before the show started and what we still continue to do today.
That's right. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to us talk about any type of show, any type of anime or whatever that you guys like too. And make sure that you comment below of what type of show you guys want us to talk about.
Hmm. And also be sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram as well, and follow us with Elite 23 Global. And also give our partners, our sister podcasts, Coffee Break podcasts, a listen too.
That's right. Well, this has been Teosha Charles and Joseph, and we just want to say bye and can't wait to talk to you guys next time. This has been Animation Station. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Hey guys, it's Teosha Charles here from Animation Station. Just wanted to talk to you guys about our wonderful company, Elite 23 Global, which is a creative place for creative minds. We have a wonderful board of branches, which is fashion, media, and even gaming. We have a team of creative minds coming together to make projects we always wanted to start, like this one. Also, come check out our clothing store called Elite 23 Shopping to check out the hottest and even cutest styles. If you want something new, come to Elite 23 Shopping. See you guys later. Bye!